Confidence doesn't begin on the first tee. It begins with how you move and how you think. Welcome to the 8-week Golf Edge for Women. Welcome everybody to Managing Your Emotions on the Course, episode 5. I am Janis Thornton with JT Fitness and Golf. I also have SL Gillespie with me with the Golf Advantage for Women.
Hello.
So we're excited about this episode, talking to you about managing your emotions. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about fatigue versus pain, because knowing the difference could actually save your game. And fatigue or pain in your round can play a lot on your emotions during the game. So imagine yourself that your wrist hurts or your knee hurts before you even start. You automatically start that round with going, oh, God, my body hurts. But you need to be understanding what your body is telling you and not let it hijack your head, because there are two physical experiences that can derail someone emotionally more than anything else. And it's going to be pain that scares you and fatigue that defeats you. So you need to know the difference so that way you can stay in control, because when you don't, your emotions are going to take over and your game can fall apart. So I want to give you an example of a pain that can scare you. For example, I have a girlfriend who is in her 60s. She's had 6 hip surgeries. And I can tell you that pain actually scared her and scares her while she plays golf. She's getting better because over time, she's been gaining a lot more strength over the years. But for a while there, it really scared her to actually swing a club, because was she going to hurt her hip? And she didn't want to do that. Um, Now, the emotional cost of misreading your body. So I have another girlfriend who loves to ignore her pain and she just plays through it. And I'm scared that she's going to actually hurt herself where she won't be able to play golf at all. So I also want you to realize, do listen to your body when you play golf, because you could actually be hurting yourself more than helping. So you could be taking pain that you misread as fatigue, you push through it, but now your injury does get worse. So now you have fear and frustration actually taking over, and you're done mentally during your game. And my friend who plays through some hand pain, this is exact. I've watched her in a round of golf have it happen where her hand hurts. Now she's frustrated, and then she's starting to play like crap. She's like, I can barely hang on to my club, and that's not good. Now, with fatigue, that is what I talked about in the last episode a little bit for fatigue and how you can strengthen your core to reduce your fatigue. But fatigue that you might misread as pain, you stop. So now you're going to lose momentum, doubt starts to creep in, and you might get the thoughts of maybe I just shouldn't be doing this, or maybe I'm not cut out for this. Either way, the wrong read creates an emotional spiral in you, and you want to make sure that you are knowing the difference. You want to keep yourself calm and grounded in the game. So muscle fatigue, fatigue is normal. It's your muscles working. You should have some fatigue by the end of the round. It's not that you want to be super tired when you're finished, but at the end of your round, you should feel like a little general tiredness throughout your body. Um, some people have a little bit of heaviness, especially later in the round. And that's okay, but that's why we want to strengthen our core, strengthen our body so we can reduce that. Just make sure that if you are fatigued, that you are resting a little bit between holes. Hopefully it's not a speed round for you that day, where if you have to wait for someone, you can actually do some stretches in between the holes. But you are going to have a little bit of fatigue throughout your round. Pushing through appropriate fatigue is how you do get stronger and more resilient, though. But an emotional response to fatigue is, I'm falling apart out here, or I always fade on the back nine, or I'm too old for this. I definitely don't like that one, because we're never too old for this awesome game. So the reframe, though, that you're not falling apart. You just need to, this is your body working hard. Fatigue on the 14th hole is not a reason to change your swing. it's a reason to stay committed to your routine. So you should also have a nice pre-shot routine that keeps you into your swing. So make sure you keep staying in that pre-shot routine to be able to hit a good quality shot even when you're tired. Tired muscles is not a character flaw. It's just a training opportunity. So if you notice that you get more fatigued at the end of the round or on holes starting at hole 12, that's your body telling you, I actually need to work out more to get yourself into better shape. Now, let's talk about pain real quick, because if you are starting to have pain in your knees or in your wrist or in your back, that is actually a signal for you to stop. Um, this pain is your body sending a warning, not actually a suggestion. Because a pain is going to feel like is a sharper stabbing sensation. The pain gets worse as you continue. It's a joint pain, not a muscle burn, uh, because this pain is going to actually change how you move and you're going to start compensating. So, guess what? Now you're including other joints that are going to potentially start having fatigue and more pain in them. And that is not going to help your golf swing. If you have any pain that shoots up and down your arm or leg, this is where you really have to be like, I actually need to stop for the day. Because when pain shows up, you need to stop. Playing through pain actually does not make you tougher. All it is making the injury worse and the recovery longer. You might be taking yourself out for instead of just a couple weeks, you might be taking yourself out for months or years. Um, so the emotional response, there is an emotional response to pain is the fear is, what did I just do? The denial, I'll just finish this hole. And then there's frustration. Why does this always happen to me? So the reframe, though, could be stopping is not weakness. So do understand that stopping is actually wisdom and you're smart. One bad hole is recoverable. One bad injury, like I said, can take you off the course for months, and you sure don't want that. And listening to your body is actually a skill, and it's one of the most powerful things you can do as a golfer. So just to go through a few of the most common golf injuries for women over 50, lower back. This is probably the most common, usually caused by poor rotation mechanics or a weak core. The body compensates by overloading the spine instead of rotating through the hips. And there's an emotional toll. Back pain creates anxiety before every round. Is today going to be a good back day or a bad back day? Will be the question. But this is where our lower back is not meant to rotate. That's our lumbar spine. Our lumbar spine is meant to go forward and backwards, where it's our thoracic spine, our upper back, mid to upper back is that's where our rotation is supposed to come from. And if we don't have a mobile thoracic spine, that's when we end up compensating and our low back takes over. And that's why we get that low back pain. So this is one issue that needs to be addressed by a lot of people. So golfer's elbow and tennis elbow. This is a huge one for golfers and tennis players, of course, but you have repetitive stress on the inner and outer part of the elbow, often caused by gripping too tight, which in itself is an emotional response to pressure. So you will hear instructors tell you to lighten up your grip on a golf club. I was always taught you should hang on to your golf club like you're holding a tube of toothpaste. You don't want to squish out the toothpaste, or like it's a chick, like a chick. You don't want to squeeze the little chick too tight. Because otherwise, if you do, you just like grip it to death. You're not going to be able to actually move if you are squeezing your golf club so hard. You can't even move then because you're not allowing your body's freedom of movement. So another place that we have injury is our rotator cuffs and our shoulders. Because the shoulder is not designed to be the primary power source in the swing. And a lot of women will use their upper body to be doing the swinging instead of using your core and your hips. That's where your power is supposed to come from. But if you aren't strong in those areas in the core and the hips, the shoulders take over and end up paying the price. And then there's an emotional toll with the rotator cuff. Shoulder issues create fear of a full swing. and then you start protecting yourself instead of playing, and we don't want that. So we could have a hip flexor strain, the front of our thighs. And this is common for women 50 plus who sit for long periods of time, whether we're behind a desk, in a car, whatever it is, because these tight hip flexors pull on your low back. They also restrict rotation. Again, hence why we need to have a stronger core and have mobility work, because there's also an emotional toll with our hip flexors. We have restricted movement creates frustration, and you know what you want your body to do, but it just won't cooperate. And then knee pain is the fifth most common area, but this often shows up in your lead leg at impact. So if you are a right-handed golfer, a lot of people will have left knee pain. If you're a left-handed golfer, a lot of people will have right knee pain. And this is usually because it's a stability issue, not actually a knee issue. And when you can improve mobility in your low back, in your hips, and in your ankles, that actually helps make your knee more stable and stronger. So that's why we want mobility for our lower body as well. But there's an emotional toll on that. Knee pain makes you second guess every shot, but it also, I've had a lot of knee pain in my lifetime because of tennis. And I'll tell you, it's like you don't want to finish that swing. So the more mobile and you can make your hips and your ankles, the stronger that knee gets, the less that pain is, the better you can get through your shot. Um, but just know that these injuries happen for a reason. Most golf injuries are not a freak accident. They're just a result of asking the body to do something it wasn't prepared to do. And your body typically lacks mobility, and they're going to find rotation somewhere it shouldn't. It lacks stability, so you compensate in other ways and start creating wear and tear on the body. So this is exactly why fitness isn't optional after 50. It's an emotional protection as much as a physical protection for yourself. So make sure that you do warm up before every round. That's really non-negotiable. I think it's in episode 2 that we have. I have a great warm up for you that you can use that you should do to get your body ready. And it also, when you do a warm up of stretching, mobility work, and getting to the driving range to hit balls, this helps actually ready your mind and gives you a calmer mind. And the other thing is stay hydrated. Dehydrated muscles fatigue faster and create more discomfort. And this is going to be discomfort you weren't expecting for sure. But don't skip recovery as well. You need good sleep, rest days, and stretching are part of the training as well. And a recovered body actually shows up very confident. A depleted body shows up defensive. So I know I talked about some strengthening the core in episode 4. A strong core protects everything above and below that you're going to want. So just know the big picture. Your body is the most valuable piece of golf equipment. You can replace a driver, but you can't replace a shoulder. Well, you can replace your shoulder, but guess what? It's going to take a long time to heal. The women who play great golf in their 60s and 70s are not lucky. They're very intentional in their training, and they make sure that they're doing the warm-ups, that they are doing the mobility work and the strength. They treat their body like an athlete's body, and that's what you need to do when it comes to golf. Golf is a very athletic sport. I don't care what anybody says. I used to be that person who actually didn't think golf was an athletic sport. When I worked in cardiac rehab, I still remember this conversation I had with one of my patients. And I remember Glenn was telling me, he's like, Janis, I play golf and I walk and I carry my bag. Well, I was in my 20s. I did not play golf. And I'm like, Glenn, oh, come on. That's not aerobic. That's nothing. Carrying your bag. Well, then once I actually carried my bag 18 holes in my 30s, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm so wrong. Because you're walking over 5 miles on most courses, even if you're pushing your cart, uh, that you end up walking, you're still walking over 5 miles and you're pushing your cart along up and down hills. It's hard. It makes your body work out. So just know that we are very athletic. Golf is an athletic sport and we have to treat it like it is. So SL, knowing when to push and when to stop is emotional intelligence as much as it is physical awareness. So now SL is going to take you into showing you exactly how to manage what's happening between these ears because this 7 inches can
Yes.
get
Yeah.
very sassy some
That,
days.
that's where all the trouble starts. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? There was so much brilliance in what you said. And like you gave people something really important, like, and that's how to tell the difference between muscle fatigue and a pain signal, like when to push through and when to stop. And that distinction like really matters because when you're in the middle of a workout and it gets uncomfortable, like your body's sending you information, and the question is whether you're listening or if you're reacting. And really, that, emotions are the exact same way. And what I just really want to say here is that, like, there's a difference between an emotion that's information and informing you and an emotion that's running you. So, like, frustration after, a tough set of like a workout, it might be telling you to adjust your form or something. Or, it might just be the old story that we talked about from episode 4, and it's an old story that's showing up as a feeling. And again, just to reiterate what you said, like the women who perform best, in the gym and on the course, they aren't the ones who don't feel the pressure. Like they're the ones who know what to do with it. So the takeaway here really for just to segue into more of what I wanted to share is like, your emotional state is information, and learning to read it instead of react to it is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. And it is trainable, like partly training your brain and partly training you. So now let's talk about what emotions actually do on the course, because this is where so many women don't realize how much is happening beneath the surface. And that it really is like when your emotional state, it shapes your swing and your presence and the energy that people feel when they're around you. So like when you're calm and grounded and steady, people respond differently. Like they lean in, they remember you in a good way. They want you to keep talking. And yet, when you're rattled, contracted, or in your head, like that energy is just as noticeable. Like you're saying, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Everyone's like, oh yeah, she's losing her shit. Beep, she's losing her bleep. And it quietly works against everything you showed up to build. And like, here's the thing, like, you don't have to be emotionless. You just have to be the one that's in charge. And so one of the most powerful tools that I've used, personally and with clients, for resetting your emotional state is EFT, emotional freedom technique. You might know it by tapping. And, for those who aren't familiar with it, I know when you first hear about it, it sounds a little out there. And yet the results I've had and with my clients as well, and the research is so compelling. Like it's so effective for dealing with stress and upsets that it's actually approved by the U.S. Veterans Administration for use in the treatment of PTSD. Like it can handle some really serious emotional challenges. So like the results are real. And once you learn it, like you actually have a reset tool available to you, like to completely retrain your nervous system and like how you usually respond, whether it's before a round or between holes, or even before like a really high stakes conversation or recording a YouTube video. I did tap earlier because I was feeling a little tired. Anyway, so yeah, so I mean I walked my talk and then all of a sudden I felt like I was on. It was great. So you can even use it, before you walk into a room full of people that you want to impress. Like there's just so many things that it can help you change. And really the short version is that it works. And I know I'm completely biased and that's okay. Because
I'm going to jump in real
yes,
quick
yes.
because I've done tapping also, and it does work. So it's all awesome. If you've never
Exactly.
tried it,
Yeah,
you need to
yeah,
get with her and do it with her because,
yes.
yes.
Yes, Google it. Did you say try if you haven't tried it?
Oh, golly. I swear, everyone, she's going to get that word out of my mouth, which is great. Well, okay, how would I refrain that? I'm going to keep this in the video.
Yeah. If you haven't used it yet, if you haven't done it yet,
I just haven't done it yet. Okay.
yeah, yeah, if you haven't done it yet.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. So what it does, speaking of interrupting stress responses, right? So what it does is interrupting the stress response in your nervous system, like quickly and like usually without needing to talk through everything or to figure out why you feel the way you feel. Like you just feel better, you feel clearer, you feel more yourself. And I'm not going to walk you through a full session here because it really does deserve more than a quick demo. And if you want to learn it properly, I do monthly tapping sessions, group stuff at a real low cost, specifically for golfers. And you can join us with one of those. They're in the evening, and we'll put a link in the description. So for
Perfect.
today, like let's just do this exercise. So think about your number one emotional trigger on the course. Maybe it's a quote unquote bad drive on the first hole and it just like throws off your whole round. Or, maybe it's playing with someone where you feel like you don't belong. And maybe it's the moment when you realize you're being watched and your body tightens up. Okay. So write it down and then write this. The next time whatever the trigger is, blank happens, I will blank. So it's one reset phrase, one breath, one routine. Or you can also play I call it the when I then I game that I teach. So when I blank, then I blank. So when I do this, then I do that, like when I want a piece of bread, then I drink water. When I start to get nervous, then I sing jingle bells to myself. It's a when I then I, it's just interrupt the chatter and the neural pathway you've got going on in your brain. It's to give it something different to focus on. So and with really some continued practice, like your brain will do this automatically for you because you'll have trained it. Like, oh, when I formerly used to do that, then I do this. So it's called call it the when I then I game. So um again, like do it enough and your brain is going to like automatically kick in. So, you don't need 10 strategies. Like you just need one that's yours and you need to decide what it is before you need it. And the main thing that I want you to remember really is like the women who show up most powerfully on the course, like they aren't the ones who never feel the pressure, like Janice was saying earlier. Like they're the ones who have a plan for it when they arrive. And so, decide your plan before you get to the golf course so that you're not attempting to figure it out on the fourth hole when you are like going down the rabbit trail. So, just to wrap up for today, like Janice is teaching you to read your body's signals so that you're playing smarter, not harder. And then again, the framework that I'm outlining for you, it's teaching you like to read your emotional signals, so that you're showing up steadier, more present, and more powerful. And both of those together, like that's a whole new level of mind body connection and working together to show up as your best self. And the women that are doing that, they are the people that are remembered long after the round is over.
Just a reminder for everyone, check out Fit for the Fairway Golf, online golf fitness for you. It's a fantastic club with over 100 follow along videos for strength and mobility. I also have Pilates and yoga in there, but also going to have coaching calls, guest speakers, all sorts of great stuff to be able to just enhance your golf fitness experience. And just so I can bring in people that can just enhance your golf game, like SL, to come in there and do some work.
Yeah, and you know what? Fitness as a way of life is a really good life. Like
Yeah.
just it is. And once you're able to get that in your brain of like that identity of like this is who I am, and we're going to talk a lot about this in the next video, I believe. So we're going to leave you hanging till that. So I'm going to say all my good stuff in the next one.
Okay, perfect. SL, where do you want them to go for?
Oh, the Golf Advantage for women, and there's a Learn EFT. It's on the calendar every month, and you can register. And would love to be tapping with you sometime soon.
Perfect. So check out the description for all the links so that way you can get to all the appropriate places. Everyone, have a fantastic day.
See ya.